So we have the episode opening, and we have a nice nostalgic shot of the Enterprise D. I must admit, it looks absolutely amazing, although it is inaccurate. The front of the ship has 3 windows that we zoom in on, but inside the ship there are about 9. Yeah, you can chalk it up to the fact that this is a dream sequence. We have Old Man Picard playing cards with Data. Data's in the Star Trek Nemesis uniform, the uniform in which he died in. They're having a nice quaint little game when suddenly Picard realises that the Enterprise is in orbit of Mars. Mars explodes in glorious fashion and basically destroys everything. And Picard wakes up, and now obviously this was a dream. He's woken up, clearly looking like he's shat the bed. Now, meanwhile, in the city of Boston, which actually looks like it's straight out of Blade Runner, we have Dahj and her boyfriend discussing how awesome she is, and she's clearly awesome because she's going to be the something at the Daystrom Institute. She's so totally amazing. He thinks she's so totally amazing. However, he does not believe that her replicator menu is amazing, and for that, he gets killed. No, I'm joking. He gets killed because a bunch of arseholes with biker crash helmets beam into her apartment, murder him, and pin her down to a table, basically saying, this won't hurt a bit, don't worry about it. They manage to subdue her, but she activates and kicks their arse. Now, why does she activate? Well, that will become clear at some point later on in this episode. When she's done kicking their arse, she drops the weapon. Who are these people? What are they doing here? Meanwhile, her boyfriend's dead on the floor with a knife stuck in him. And she's like, oh my god, I can't believe you're dead. I'm so sorry. Just before having a vision of Old Man Picard. Anyway, that's where we see the opening credits, which seem extraordinarily long for Star Trek credits. That's probably to fit the 19 producers. Unbelievable. Post-credit, we're back to Chateau Picard, where he's talking to his dog, who is faithfully named Number 1. And he's talking French to Number 1. He's trying to teach French to Number 1, the dog. He has 2 Romulan house servants, one of which is Irish for some inexplicable reason. Do you know what? I'm Irish, and this is a terrible Irish accent. You were stirring during the night. Were you having a nightmare? Picard gets sick and tired of hearing her voice and decides to go for some tea Earl Grey hot from the replicator. He's got a busy morning, this guy. He's got an interview with the Federation News. As it turns out, the Romulan star exploded. Inexplicably. No warning, no nothing. Which in itself is inexplicable, because stars just don't suddenly explode for no reason. That doesn't happen. And Star Trek's very aware of this, but the writers of this show are not. So your position was to go and save Romulan lives. And he was like, yes, I had an armada of relief ships. They had time to build these starships, and the starships were the relief effort to go and rescue the Romulans of this massive star empire. The Romulans have this huge star empire. It's called the Romulan Star Empire. They have thousands of ships and hundreds of star systems. They're incapable of saving themselves for some odd reason, probably because the story needs that to happen. Picard was in charge of building a massive fleet of ships, relief ships, to go and rescue the Romulans. Nothing makes sense. Nothing at all makes sense. Anyway, the reporter's grilling him on it, and he gets a little knocked.
Oh, you cheeky sod. You shouldn't be asking me questions like that.
But you see, there was another element to this story. There was an android uprising. All the androids, or artificial life forms, went nuts and blew up Mars, as you saw earlier. Now, why they did this, nobody knows. It led to a ban on synthetics. Now, at this point, she brings up Lieutenant Commander Data. Obviously, Picard's got quite a soft spot for Data in this show. I don't know why, because he didn't really have much of a soft spot for him in The Next Generation. He valued him as an officer. He valued him as almost like a friend, but he was ultimately his captain. It would seem that Starfleet, after this tragedy, decided not to rescue the Romulans, and that didn't sit well with Admiral Picard at the time. And he threatened to resign if they didn't go ahead with the relief effort. And Starfleet accepted his resignation. Why on earth would they accept his resignation? So the relief effort was done, the Romulan star exploded, millions of Romulans perished, and the Romulans became refugees, you see. Because when one star explodes, it can affect thousands of other stars instantly, thousands of other planets instantly. That doesn't seem to work. The science doesn't fit, you see. But never mind. Back on with the show. Picard gets angry and storms out of the interview, but not before saying,
Starfleet! It's not Starfleet! It stopped being Starfleet a long time ago because they're very bad.
Daj, seeing this interview on TV, suddenly realises, holy crap, this is Picard. This is the person. This is the man who I've seen in my vision. I must go and find him. So she does. She goes and finds Picard and says, look, you've got to help me. This shit went down at my apartment and my boyfriend's dead and these key people want to kill me. And he's like,
well, I don't know who you are. Who are you? Come in for some Earl Grey tea.
She hands him a necklace, which is pretty much just the dullest thing you'd ever see. He's trying to figure out what happened to her. And she says, look, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And he says, well,
you can rest. Rest tonight. We'll figure it all out in the morning.
Obviously, they go to bed and Picard has another dream. Jean-Luc Picard is in his captain's uniform and there's Commander Data in his gold commander's uniform from the Next Generation. Why they couldn't put that in on the Enterprise D is anyone's guess. Data's painting a painting, and this painting Picard recognises. So he wakes up and decides, I need to go and figure this out, while Daj is asleep in bed. So he goes to San Francisco, and he goes to his personal exhibit, the Vault of Jean-Luc Picard, where there's a lot of different nostalgic memorabilia where Picard can reminisce about easier times. Because it turns out, Picard is sentimental and just keeps everything. Picard decides to go into the quantum archives, and he sees the painting that he saw Data doing in the dream. And my gosh, surprise, surprise, there's Daj's face. It's unbelievable. This is fantastic writing. So Daj actually runs away from Picard's chateau and gets in touch with her mum, who says, look, you've got to trust Jean-Luc Picard. You have to trust Jean-Luc Picard. So she goes and finds Jean-Luc Picard in San Francisco. And Picard sits her down and says,
I remember someone very special to me called Data. And it would appear that you're Data's daughter. You are Data's daughter. Yes. You're an android.
And she goes, well, that's not possible because I'm not an android. I can't be an android. I have memories. And they're rudely interrupted when Daj's spider sense detects people around her who are not good people. And she charges and drags this 92-year-old man up flights of stairs, and he's like,
oh, bollocks, I'm too old for this. I'm getting far too tired. Oh my God.
And she leads him to a roof where the masked assholes with the motorcycle helmets beam in and suddenly start shooting shit. Daj runs an impossible run, jumps an impossible jump, and dies. The Romulan spits acid on her and she blows up in spectacular fashion. Picard goes, no! And a 92-year-old man gets flung 50 feet by a massive explosion that knocks him to the ground. So Picard wakes up back in the chateau and the Romulan lady's like, what are you doing? You were flung 50 feet. You're an old man, you can't be doing this anymore.
And Picard goes, oh my God, I just came here. I've been whittling away, waiting to die. Now I have a purpose because I have to find out what happened to Daj. I owe it to her. I have a mission. I have direction.
So Picard decides to go to the Daystrom Institute and meets Dr. Jurati. And he asks her,
oh, is it possible to make a synthetic person look like a human and breathe like a human and eat like a human and make it so it doesn't even know it's human?
And Jurati laughs in his face and goes, wait a minute, you serious? She takes him to see the android called the B4. And she says that B4 was a bad copy of Data, which is not true at all. B4, it means B4 Data. It is a whimsical name made by Noonien Soong, and B4 was in Star Trek Nemesis, and he was made B4 Data. It was established in Star Trek Nemesis, but apparently, according to Jurati, no, he was a bad copy. That's bullshit. He came before Data. Now, the significance of this piece of crap jewelry means that Daj actually has a twin. When you make a synthetic life form and you use something called fractal neuronic cloning, which I've renamed factual moronic droning, because that's all it is. It's basic droning. It's using 3 random scientific words, putting them together and making them sound interesting. Now, Star Trek has done this before, of course, in the past, but it always kind of made sense. Fractal neuronic cloning does not. Picard realises, well, Dahj must have a sister, and it has this cutaway from the necklace to a Romulan ship. Now, this ship has on it the most Swindon character you've ever known. He power walks onto the screen in slow-mo fashion, going, "Hey, I've got the hang of this power walking business." And he meets, well, is it Dahj? No, it's a twin sister, Soji. And he goes, "Hello, I'm from Swindon, but I'm a Romulan, and how are you?" And she goes, "Oh, hello, I'm Soji. I have a sister." He goes, "Oh, well, that's a coincidence. I had a brother. He died a long time ago, but, you know, it was quite tragic, really. I've brought the conversation down slightly, haven't I? Bet you don't like hearing about all these problems, do you?" And she goes, "Actually, that makes me froth at my gash so much. I love hearing people's tragic backstories randomly 30 seconds after meeting them. It turns me on." Anyway, we have a beautiful exterior shot where they pull away from the 2 complete social retards, and what do you know, it pulls away and it reveals a Borg cube. We have some sort of Romulan Borg renovation project going on here.
And that's basically the rundown of Star Trek Picard, Season 1, Episode 1. I had a lot of involvement in Star Trek Picard, as you can tell, and I am thoroughly not sounding like David Attenborough at all. And here we see the old man version of Picard in his natural habitat in his chateau.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel, UK Dangerman Reviews. Until the next video, it's bye from me.
I need the silence, stop the violence of the war in my head. Time's the healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter, I know